Harbinger Farming is the best all-around T16 farming strat I've seen so far in the Legacy of Phrecia event. Hey, I'm Cyclon, and today I wanted to share with you a Harbinger Farming idle setup that a teammate and buddy of mine, Dreamweaver, has set up. Now, what makes Harbinger Farming so powerful is three things that it provides. Before we quickly going to cover those, I wanted to mention that my spreadsheet has been updated, has been cleaned up, and Harbinger is a very solid A-tier strategy. The only reason it's not an S-tier strategy is that S-tier strategies are in a league of their own, and then Exiles being even more above than the other S-tier strategies. It just T17 strats cannot be competed with by T16 strategies. But Harbinger will be a very solid strategy to get you into your T17 farming strat. And that's why I think it's really good to be aware of it. And maybe it fits what you enjoy with the game. And it can be your ticket into T17s. So what does Harbinger provide that I'm praising it that much? So there are three things it provides. First of all, it provides a very solid currency drop pool. You're going to be getting a raw chaos, which is neat to have because it's going to be liquid directly and you can directly cover your map device cost. You then have ancient orbs and annulment orbs you're going to get a lot of. So these you can use to cover the cost of your scarabs. So now we got map device cost and scarab cost covered, and we just need to make a profit with it. And the profit comes in form of fracturing shards, fracturing orbs, and mirror shards. So the mirror shard is gonna be the big ticket lucky drop. It can happen, and if you farm enough maps, it is gonna be more and more likely to happen to you as well. So with getting a chance for mirror shard, we just have this, hey, need lucky drop, happy to have it, awesome to gain it. But on top of that, we have the fracturing shards. And now, because of how powerful these idols are, and you will see this in a moment, we gonna see fracturing shards or potentially orbs every few maps. So instead of having like maybe one orb in 100 maps, we have an average one orb in 20 maps, making that much more likely. Now the good thing with orbs is that with recomping, a lot of people want to not use them, but there's still items that need to be fractured or items that you can fracture yourself and then sell and it's gonna be profitable again. The fracturing ops will always hold some value, and this will always be a really easy profit source. Now, there are two more things Harbinger gives, and the next thing is it gives a really solid amount of gold. Gold is directly transformable into currency in the Legacy of Frisia event. If you go to the black market on Faustus and have it upgraded, you can directly buy idols with your gold. So any gold that you don't need to supply your town with to set up shipments, which also are directly converted into currency, you can use your gold on Faustus to buy either do some flips if you are aware of any of those, or just directly buy idols, check if they have any valuable mods and sell them or recombine them and then afterwards sell them. So gold is a really solid source that you can use yourself, that you want to have some of, but any excess gold, which this farm will give you a good amount, you can use on selling stuff, on buying stuff via Faustus, or on idols. And the last thing it's really amazing at is experience. Now, the value of experience cannot be underestimated, because once you have enough of a level, dying will be less painful to you. If you have all the levels you need to get all the nodes that are good for your build on the passive tree, awesome. If you're level 100, well, yeah, you're not losing any more XP when dying. So, Harbinger Farming gives an absurd amount of experience. It didn't even took me 20 maps that I tested the strategy with, so I'm aware of what I'm talking about. Then I got from level 97 to level 98. And if I could run maybe another 50 maps, I think I could get to close to level 100 on this. It's just very powerful on experience. But now enough about that. Let's take a look at the actual Harbinger strategy and its idle setup. So, for Harbinger's idols, we have a mix of very simple to set up idols and a little bit more complicated to set up idols. We want to get at least 12 additional Harbinger on our idols. Now, we get this not by how I sadly baited people at launch or before launch, I apologize for that. we cannot stack chance to contain additional Harbinger because it's a chance to contain an additional. That wording caps at 100. The same with Harbingers in map have chance to drop an additional stack of currency shards. It also, because of its wording, caps at 100. Now, what does stack is your maps contain 2 additional Harbingers and your maps contain an additional Harbinger. As you can see here, your maps contain 12 additional Harbingers. This means that those modifiers did stack. So we want 4 massive idols, so that's our 2x2 Conqueror idols with 2 additional Harbingers, and 4 burial or totemic idols that have 1 additional Harbinger. This gets us to 12 additional Harbingers. We then can get a 13th additional Harbinger by getting Harbinger chance on either noble or minor idols. Now, I get to those in a moment, but first let's take a look at the Conqueror idols. The Conqueror idols, we only need the mod for 2 additional Harbingers on 3 of those, and on the last one, we want currency shards dropped by Harbingers in the map can drop as a currency item instead. Then, we want on our 1x3s or 3x1s, we want 2 modifiers. We want 1 additional Harbinger, and we want a 25% chance to be replaced by a powerful Harbinger boss. Now you could get away with 24 and maybe 23, but don't drop this chance too low. Harbinger Bosses is what makes the currency in this. By every Harbinger being a Harbinger boss, we see so many more currency shards, and by seeing so many more currency shards, we see many fracturing shards. This is the main scaling factor. By after scaling Harbinger amount, scaling the amount of each Harbinger and how many shards they drop, they just gain that much more shards. We see that many, we have better odds at seeing our fracturing shards, potentially upgrading to orbs, and also potentially finding a mirror shard. So this leaves us with 4 spots open, and by using 2 burial idols and 2 totemic idols, we can actually make them be placed next to each other. So we have the option to use noble idols. Those will give each Harbinger an additional shard, but because we already see so many Harbingers and see so many shard stacks, I opted instead for chance for cooldown recovery rate. And once we're going to go in map and I give a live example, you're gonna see why this cooldown recovery is actually very powerful. Now I just grabbed those out of my stash to test and it felt really good. I haven't taken the time to get a dose with chance for additional Harbinger yet, but I could gain a 13th Harbinger. Now, before we're going to go into the map and I showed there, let me quickly cover the rest of the setup. It doesn't really matter what map you take, it just needs to be a big enough map. So a very tiny map like Mesa is not recommended for this because you're gonna cramp everything in there and we actually don't have enough space to place all the Harbingers, so they will just get trimmed and you would have scaled your Harbinger amount for nothing. So run something like Jungle Valley, Dunes, Strand or Beach. Those are really great maps. They are wide, they are in a good shape that you can run them easily and run those to find your Harbingers. Now on the map device, of course, we want Harbinger. On the Scarabs, we want Harbingers. And then we want 1 Scarab for Harbinger Scarab of Warhordes. Because we see so many shards, doubling them is that much more powerful. And with that said, let's go right into the live example to keep the video short as possible. So once you're in the map, it's very simple. Normally I would do Harbinger bouncing, but we see so many Harbingers that's not needed. With the cooldown recovery, what you see here is that he's constantly placing new blue orbs and spawning grounds, and he's constantly losing life. So it's actually faster to just stand on 1 Harbinger and kill whatever he spawns. It's just, yeah, simpler. We don't need to hop between Harbingers. We see so many Harbingers, we can just stand on top of 1 Harbinger and whatever he spawns, kill, and we go to the next Harbinger. And because we have 12 Harbingers from map, 2 from map device, 12 from Scarabs, and 12 from idle setup, we have 26 Harbingers. There are so many, there will always be another Harbinger that we can, at most times we clear 2 Harbingers at once. Very rarely we only clear 1 Harbinger. And get the already next Harbinger on the right side. We just stand there, we just attack. Harbinger dies, we pick up the shards, go to the next Harbinger. Already close to half-life. Yeah, the next one is spawning already as well now. Now, to be fair, I could have just, instead of being on Molten Strike of Zenith, I could have swapped to a Lightning Strike or Lightning Strike of Arcing, and I would have had a better coverage here. But for the sake of this for this showcase, I just used my main skill. And you can see at the bottom my time spent in the map. We're ready the first third into the map. This is now the first time I only one Harbinger because there's a bit of a gap to the next packs. Here we go, next Harbinger. So here, because it's in the corner, I can actually do a bit of hopping, I can a bit of exploring. I see there are 2 more Harbingers here. But now I can focus on the Harbinger here in the corner. Oh, I noticed there are actually 2, not just 1. Yeah, they die very quickly with the cooldown recovery rate. Because you constantly kill the enemies they spawn. They constantly spawn more enemies for you to, again, kill instantly. So they are all losing their life very quickly, making it way easier to just stick on a Harbinger than to hop between 2 Harbingers. Just making the spread that much easier. So now we have here a massive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just all the Harbingers in one place. We just gonna take one by one, while the others gonna come in range. And already get a bit of damage, a bit of enemies killed. There's another one. Just a massive horde of Harbingers we can kill all more or less at the same time by hopping a little bit between them. Again, keep focused mainly on one Harbingers and just use the others on range for a little bit of additional killing time, a little bit more time efficiency. The greatest thing you notice, I already got a lot of gold, already got a lot of XP, considering my level 2% is quite a bit. All the strategies you get 2% maybe in a map. But yeah, there's really not much more to the strategy. Fight a Harbinger, then on top of the Harbinger. Here we have again 2 right next to each other, just making the killing much more efficient. That's another one down. Only bad showcase in this map is that I haven't seen Fracturing Shard yet. So to prove that Fracturing Shards do drop easily from here hasn't been given yet. And you can trust me on that. You see a lot of Fracturing Shards real quick. You won't see them every map, but every few maps you will see them. And then there's the small chance for them to drop as orbs, like there was the Annulment Orb. Already at 4 Ancient Orbs for Annulment Orbs. Now they're only worth like 2 or 3 Chaos. But this means that they're still very good to cover your costs, to cover your expenses on the maps. That's the last boss. Here it is. And we are almost done with the map. Now we had not the best overlap on the Harbingers, so the remaining time is now at 5 minutes. But the map is about to be done. Isn't too much more left in it. Here's already the exit. So we have one more Harbinger here.
Approach, challenger.
One more here, and there's the last 2. So after those, the map is done. Yeah. Hopefully the strategy is interesting. Again, I think it's a very solid T16 strategy. You're gonna get a lot of generic currency from it. You're gonna, because you can Ether or Exile altars, you're gonna get a little bit of those as well. You're gonna get a good amount of idols and a good amount of gold, decent amount of XP. I went 3% XP at level 98 is really solid. Really happy with the strategy. Hopefully you're gonna be able to enjoy it too. If anything was unclear, you have any questions left, as usual, you can ask me in the comment section on Discord or when I'm live streaming on Twitch. I swear I'm gonna have more time to stream again soon. But all that being said, have a wonderful day and a lot of fun with the Legacy of Phrecia event. Bye!